Delivery trucks hissed at curbs, suits moved in waves, coffee cups in hand, phones to ears. Malik wore plain slacks, a button-up with rolled sleeves and sneakers. Comfortable, forgettable. He carried nothing but his phone and a badge clipped to his belt. The entrance to Orion Technologies was quiet that early, just a couple employees swiping in. He nodded to the security guard as he approached. The man stepped in front of the scanner. "Hold up," the guard said. He was white, mid-40s, with mirrored sunglasses despite the shade and a Bluetooth earpiece that blinked like it had something to say. Malik paused. "Morning," he said. "Everything okay? Where's your badge?" Malik gestured to the clip on his hip. The guard didn't glance at it. "You doing a delivery or something?" "No," Malik said, still calm. "I work here." The guard's eyebrows lifted. Not in surprise, in doubt. "You sure about that?" the guard asked. "We've had people try to sneak in before." Malik didn't answer right away. The silence wasn't uncomfortable, but it said a lot. The guard squinted, finally glancing at Malik's badge, then at his face, then back again like something didn't add up. "What department you in?" he asked, still not moving from the scanner. "Systems design," Malik said evenly. "You got a manager I can call?" Malik's jaw tightened slightly, but he nodded. "Sure. You can call the director of innovation. She's probably in by now." The guard didn't reach for his radio. He just crossed his arms. "You know," he said, "I've been here 5 years. Know just about everyone who works in this building. Don't think I've ever seen you before. I just got back from Geneva." "Product trials," Malik said. That only made the guard more skeptical. "Yeah? You travel a lot for a junior role?" Malik didn't answer. He didn't smile. He didn't correct the assumption. Instead, he asked, "Is there a problem with the badge?" The guard shifted his weight. The silence stretched. Behind Malik, a couple employees approached, scanning their badges and slipping inside. One of them, an intern Malik had interviewed months ago, glanced back but said nothing. The guard finally said, "I'm gonna need to see some ID. Real ID." Malik reached for his wallet, slow, deliberate. No sudden moves, no raised voice. This wasn't new. Malik handed over his driver's license. The guard took it, looked it over like it might be fake, turned it in his hand, squinted at it. "Malik Reed," he read aloud. His eyes dropped to the address, then to the photo, then back to Malik's face again, still blocking the scanner. "You said systems design?" "Yes." "You got anything to prove that?" Malik tilted his head slightly. "Other than my badge and government ID?" The guard shrugged. "Just asking. You understand, right? We've got sensitive stuff in there. Can't just let anyone walk in." Malik said nothing, just stood there. A woman in a sharp blazer approached the door from the inside and stopped short when she saw the two of them. She was tall, early 30s, and moved like someone who didn't like wasting time. "Malik?" she said, tapping the glass. "You coming in?" Malik smiled faintly. "Trying to." She stepped forward and waved her badge. The door clicked open. The guard stepped aside slowly, like he was doing her a favor. The woman looked at him, then at Malik, reading the moment fast. "You good?" she asked. Malik nodded once. "I'm good." They walked through the lobby together, Malik quiet, the woman glancing at him, trying to decide if she should say something. He beat her to it. "First time that's happened since I got back," he said, his voice low, even. "Usually it's just the stairs." She frowned. "Want me to report it?" Malik shook his head. "No point." They passed a digital wall display rotating through company milestones, press coverage, and leadership highlights. Malik's face appeared briefly, standing next to the CEO holding a prototype. Below the image, Malik Reed, co-founder and chief systems architect. A young man standing near the display saw it, then saw Malik. His eyes widened slightly. He nudged the woman next to him, whispering. The woman beside Malik, Angela, director of innovation, watched the shift. "They always see it too late," she said under her breath. Malik didn't respond. He didn't need to. The elevator was empty when they stepped in. Angela pressed the top floor button, then leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "He shouldn't still be out there," she said finally. Malik glanced at her, then away. "He's not the first." Angela studied him. "You always this calm?" Malik gave a half shrug. "Doesn't help to be anything else." The elevator chimed, doors sliding open to a quiet hallway with frosted glass offices and soft recessed lights. A few early employees nodded as they passed, murmuring "Morning, Malik," with a bit more alertness than usual. Angela stopped outside the glass-walled conference room. "I'll be in at 10, she said. "Let me know if you change your mind about saying something." Malik opened the door. "I won't," he said, and then quieter, "but thanks." The conference room was empty, sunlight spilling across the long table. Malik placed his laptop on the polished wood, plugged it in, and sat. The room overlooked the city, glass walls offering a view most people would kill for. But Malik wasn't looking at the skyline. He stared at the table for a long minute, fingers steepled under his chin. The sting of the morning clung to him, but he kept it buried. A junior developer passed by, paused, then doubled back. She was in her 20s, wore headphones around her neck and a look of uncertainty. "Hey, I saw you downstairs earlier," she said softly. "With Mark, that guard." Malik turned to her. "Yeah. I'm sorry," she said quickly, eyes dropping. "I didn't know if I should say something." Malik gave a small nod. "It's okay." She hesitated. "It didn't look okay." Malik offered the faintest smile. "Still, I'm okay." She opened her mouth, then closed it. Then she said, "It won't be forgotten," and walked away. Malik leaned back in his chair, watching the door close behind her. Her words hung in the air longer than he expected. It won't be forgotten. Maybe it wouldn't. Maybe this time something would stick. He turned to his laptop, opened the morning presentation. Slides about machine learning efficiency, system architecture, predictive load balancing. Nothing emotional, nothing personal, just data. Still, his mind wandered. Not to Mark, the guard, but to how easily the assumptions had slid into place. As if all the credentials in the world didn't matter unless they were worn on the outside. The elevator dinged down the hall. Footsteps approached. 3 engineers filed in, laughing about something, then stopped short when they saw him. "Hey, Malik," one of them said, tone shifting. The others nodded, smiles cautious. He greeted them politely, but they looked at him differently now. Not just like a leader, like a question they hadn't thought to ask before. The meeting began quietly. One by one, more team members trickled in, their laughter fading when they saw Malik already seated at the head of the table. A few exchanged glances. Some avoided his eyes. Angela entered last, setting her tablet down without a word. Malik stood. "Let's begin." He walked them through the prototype's performance, the new design optimizations, timelines for rollout. His voice was clear, focused. Nothing about him suggested the morning had started with suspicion and silence. But under the calm, there was something sharper. A weight behind his words. When he paused to take questions, the room stayed still for a moment longer than usual. Then someone asked, "Where did the predictive model originate?" Malik looked at him. "My living room," he said simply. No one laughed, though a few smiled nervously. Angela's eyes flicked from Malik to the team. She didn't speak, but her face said it plainly. "Now you know." The meeting wrapped up with the usual to-dos, but the energy in the room was different. More alert, quieter. People filed out slowly, a few offering Malik a handshake or quiet thank you. Not out of obligation, more like acknowledgement. Angela lingered behind, closing her tablet. "He saw your face on the wall," she said. Malik didn't look up. "Did he say anything?" "No. Just got real quiet." Malik nodded once. Angela waited, then asked, "Still don't want to report it?" "No," Malik said. "Let him sit with it." She exhaled, not pushing. "That kind of silence is louder than any complaint," he added. Angela didn't argue, because he was right. Some lessons don't land with paperwork. They land in stillness. Downstairs, the morning rush had passed. The lobby was quieter now, just the low hum of conversation and the occasional beep of badge scanners. Mark stood at his post, stiff, arms crossed, eyes fixed on the door. His sunglasses were gone. He looked up as a woman approached the front desk. A vendor, maybe. He greeted her with clipped politeness, glancing once toward the security monitors. Then the screen flashed to the rotating wall upstairs. Malik's photo again. The caption beneath it. The headline from Wired. Mark stared at it longer than he meant to. One of the newer guards approached with a coffee. "Hey, you want?" Mark held up a hand, eyes still on the screen. The junior guard followed his gaze, then looked at Mark. "You didn't know?" Mark didn't answer. He just said, "Go take your break," and turned back to the monitors, face unreadable. Upstairs, Malik returned to his office. Glass walls, neat shelves, a whiteboard full of formulas. He didn't sit right away. Instead, he stood at the window looking out over the city. He wasn't thinking about architecture models or delivery dates. Not yet. He was thinking about the way the younger guard had looked at him downstairs, wide-eyed, then careful. It wasn't just shock. It was the start of something else, an adjustment, not of facts, of belief, a quiet shift in how someone sees the world. Malik had seen it before, in classrooms, in boardrooms, in airports, but no matter how many times it happened, the feeling remained the same. He hadn't earned their respect just now. He'd already had it. They'd just taken too long to see it. Later that afternoon, Malik stepped into the break room for a coffee. Conversation quieted slightly when he entered. Not awkward, just noticeable. A few employees offered nods, others subtle smiles. He poured his coffee slowly, not rushing. No one said anything directly, but he could feel it in the air, people recalibrating. As he turned to leave, someone spoke. "Hey, Malik." It was the intern from earlier, the one who hadn't spoken at the door. He stood a little straighter now. "I'm sorry I didn't say anything this morning," he said. "I saw what happened." Malik studied him for a second. "You're saying something now," he replied. The intern nodded, unsure whether that made it better or worse. But Malik let it stand. "Just remember it," he said, voice low, "and make sure you don't do the same." The intern didn't smile. He just nodded, and it meant more that way. That evening, long after most employees had left, Malik stayed behind. Not working, just walking. He moved through the quiet halls, past conference rooms and project boards, nodding to the occasional late worker. No one asked why he was there. No one needed to. He paused by the lobby staircase. Mark was still at the desk. Their eyes met. No one else was around. Mark stood slowly, hesitated, then walked over. "Mr. Reed," he said, his voice lower than it had been that morning. Malik didn't respond, just waited. Mark shifted, clearly uncomfortable. "I didn't recognize you. I made assumptions." Malik's expression didn't change. "You did." A long pause. "I'm sorry," Mark said. Malik studied him, not cruelly, just long enough to make it matter. "Are you sorry because of who I am?" he said. "Or because of what you did?" Mark swallowed. "Both." Malik nodded once. "Good," he said. "Then maybe it'll stick." Malik didn't wait for a response. He turned and walked away, not angry, just finished. Mark stood there, hands at his sides, watching him go. Across the lobby, a janitor quietly emptied a bin, headphones in, barely glancing up. But the silence around Mark wasn't casual anymore. It was weight. He sat back at his station, slower than before, glancing once more at the screen on the wall. Malik's face still rotating through the digital display. No one else noticed. But this time, Mark didn't look away. He stared, and he stayed quiet. Behind him, the doors slid open with a hiss, another employee entering. Mark straightened up, greeted them politely, too politely, with a stiffness that hadn't been there this morning. Because now, every person who walked through those doors might be more than they seemed. And he knew it. The next morning, the lobby felt different. Not louder, just more aware. People nodded more, looked up instead of through. Mark stood at his post again, but he didn't stop anyone. He checked badges carefully, respectfully. He spoke less, watched more. Malik entered through the same door. No pause this time, no confrontation, just a brief nod from Mark, and a quieter one in return. No grudge, no permission, just recognition. Malik stepped onto the elevator alone. As the doors closed, he caught a glimpse of the wall display changing again. Not his face this time, just the company's core values: integrity, respect, vision. And this time, someone in the lobby actually read them. Back upstairs, Malik walked into his office, set down his bag, and looked out the window. Another day, same view, but something had shifted. Not because of a speech, not because of a punishment, but because someone had seen what they weren't supposed to miss. And now they couldn't unsee it.